Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man surrenders firearm to FLA after video goes viral. The man seen in a social media video pointing his firearm license at a woman in New Kingston surrendered his gun to the Firearms Licensing Authority FLA on Monday. According to a spokesperson from the FLA, the individual's license has been suspended and will remain suspended pending the outcome of an investigation as to whether the man had acted properly in keeping the agency's use of force policy. The FLA can revoke the license of the individual in question if an investigation finds that he did not conduct himself properly in terms of the training that all licensed firearm holders get as it relates to the use of force, the spokesperson told reporters. It has not been publicly disclosed. Last Saturday, the video was widely circulated on social media, which shows the man pulling a firearm from his waistband and pointing it at a woman who was advancing towards him. The incident reportedly occurred in New Kingston. JFD condemns fatal shooting by soldier at SOE checkpoint, calls for urgent investigation. Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice JFG has condemned the fatal shooting of 24-year-old Teron Hewitt by a member of the Jamaica Defense Force JDF in central Kingston on Monday. Hewitt was shot dead at a state of emergency checkpoint on Law Street. Videos of the incident have gone viral on social media, with many dubbing the killing as murder. The Independent Commission of Investigation (INDECOM) has launched a probe into the fatal shooting. The lobby group is calling for a swift and thorough investigation of the incident. In a statement on Tuesday, the organization said that while it is alleged that the deceased removed a barrier which resulted in an altercation between himself and members of the JDF, the response of the security forces should have been proportionate, legal, and necessary. More so, as Hewitt is seemingly walking away and appears to be unharmed, this incident has once again placed a spotlight on the disturbing manner in which security forces continue to use force, especially in communities from the lower socioeconomic strata of society, with devastating effects on those who live there and bearing witnesses to the atrocities committed, the statement continued. JFG, it is important to note that upon commencement of its investigation, INDECOM statements highlighted that no member of the JCF was present at the time of the incident. No firearm was reported as recovered at the scene or in possession of Mr. Hewitt at the time. According to JFG, the soldier in question should be removed from frontline duty, and the JDF needs to clarify his status while addressing an internal investigation that it may have commenced into the matter. The lobby group is also calling for the full report, once prepared, to be made public in the interest of transparency. Far too often, these unfortunate incidents occur and no public updates are provided, this statement said. The organization insists that if the government is serious about improving its human rights record and cares about the people of Jamaica, members of the security forces need to be held to a high standard and act with transparency and accountability. Paternity leave comes in effect January 1, 2023. The proposed introduction of paternity leave for fathers for newborns and family leave for adoptive parents bringing a new child into the home is slated to come into effect on January 1, 2023. This was disclosed by Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, Marcia Smith, who also advised that the proposed increase of paid maternity leave from 40 days to 3 months will commence on January 1. Smith was speaking at the Civil Service Week Public Forum at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The forum was held under the theme, The Public Sector, Forging Ahead with Determination. The changes are coming out of the current public sector compensation review and will be facilitated by updating the public sector staff orders of 2004. The compensation review is intended to overhaul the structure of salaries and other emoluments in the public service. This is an opportunity for other Jamaicans who have the capacity and the ability to take on fostering to foster a child. If you are a public servant, you are going to be given that opportunity to get those weeks to settle that child in before you go back to work fully. This is why we are trying to modernize the public sector in real ways to meet the needs of public services, not just in terms of compensation, but also in overall quality of life, she said. Smith said the aim is to ensure that public servants are compensated in ways that are competitive with the local private as well as the international markets. These changes will ensure that we're able to retain the talent locally, which will ensure an efficient, simplified public sector, she stated, indicating that the Ministry of Finance and Public Service has reached an agreement with several trade unions representing public sector workers on the restructured public sector compensation system. I was very happy last week when the Minister of Finance, together with its union partners, were able to sign several memoranda of understanding, and these cover approximately 60,000 employees, and we are well underway to seeing the entire public sector being transformed, Simit noted. The Minister of Finance is committed to ensuring that we implement a public sector compensation that is fair, transparent, and sustainable. He is determined to ensure that each and every public sector worker is better off financially. To all public sector workers, I say be patient. There is always some shifting around when there is transformation, but in the end, everything eventually settles down, she said. Simit also used the opportunity to applaud other unions that have represented their members through the process and said she acknowledges the thrust that they have shown in the government by signing this agreement. For those who have not yet signed, I encourage you to do so. I am confident that this is a step in the right direction as we continue to change the various aspects of public sector transformation, she stated. St. Catherine health official worried garbage pile-up could lead to dengue outbreak. The medical officer of Health for St. Catherine has raised serious concern about the pile-up of garbage in Spanish Town, saying it could push the parish into an outbreak of dengue fever, that the issue needs to be handled with urgency. I don't know what is the plan, but how do we plan to proceed with the garbage that just pile up at corners and so on in the town? I'm very concerned about Spanish Town, the sanitization of the town, she said, warning that the parish could be on the brink of an outbreak of dengue that she hopes will not be like the last outbreak with so many children affected. She shared her observations at a recent meeting at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation's Public Health and Sanitization Committee. She noted that the parish's AG Aegypti index, which has been below the international target of 5 or for the last 2 years, shared to rise their year and is now in double digits. So we need to be on alert. We need to start watching those numbers. We need to start doing something about getting rid of those things which we know cause mosquito breeding and cause us to go into an outbreak, she urged. She further suggested that the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation collaborate with the Public Health Department in changing their approach towards garbage disposal and collection. Bartlett says investments in tourism sector will create thousands of jobs, major GDP growth. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says investments in the tourism sector will contribute to significant growth of the country's GDP and create thousands of jobs. Mr. Bartlett stated that among the investments will be the opening of the largest hotel in Montego Bay and the construction of thousands of new hotel rooms across the island. He also announced that St. Thomas will be targeted for growth in tourism. Mr. Bartlett said over the course of the next 5 years, the country will generate billions of US dollars in foreign direct investments.
Investment in tourism is now going to take on a new dimension. In the next 5 years, starting Friday this week, Andrew Holness and the team will go to break ground for the largest hotel in the history of Montego Bay, Hard Rock Hotel, for 2,000 rooms. Over in Hanover, in Green Island, 2,000 rooms under construction now. Rhodes Hall, another 1,000 rooms in Hanover. 4,000 rooms just for the parish of Hanover alone. 3,300 rooms for St. James. 4,100 more rooms for St. Anne. Trelawney, 3,000 rooms. St. Mary, Portland. St. Thomas is the new oyster. That's where the next wave of tourism is going to come. What it means is in the next 5 years, 45,000 new jobs will be created in the tourism industry, both construction and otherwise. The Minister of Finance will see 4 to 5 billion US dollars of foreign direct investment in the tourism. What that means is will be a reasonable increase of about 2% of GDP every year for 5 years. What it also means is that we are going to have to change the way we do business in tourism. And the Labour Party is at the heart now of changing the labour market arrangements in tourism so that the workers of the industry can become better beneficiaries of the products of tourism.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,